Okay, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines, and this is our little desk for the office. That's my project at the moment, and I've been trying to make it just a little bit special. This was a kind of little motif that I put on some of the other furniture in the house, and I like this paint. It might be a bit quirky for other people, but I'm not making this for other people. Now, because it's a very dark colour, it's soaking up the light. I hope you can see it. Now, this is a special effect paint finish that you get by putting two colours in the same can and not mixing them too efficiently, and then you get a different kind of look to it. I don't know whether you can see that. It's difficult sometimes to show, especially a paint finish. You get a kind of a random it's a random what would you call it, striped finish. This has got to be, of course it's got to be lacquered, and you can see there, once we get it too much out of the light, and you can see how those panels, they don't take much work, but they do lift. I think that they lift the job. There's quite a bit of paint work to be done on this so far. This has turned out to be a little bit flat compared to the other parts, so I'll have to go over this end. Very difficult. The paint finish that I've suggested is quite difficult to achieve a uniform look over the entire piece, and you can see that this has taken a couple of hits, so we'll have to go back over that. But a lot of this will all come together when it has a clear lacquer put over it, especially the top. As you can see, this is the raised. This is how I like to do them anyway. See, there'll be little bits there that this has come off the tarpaulin and then been pressed into, but all of that will be sanded down. Personally, I'm never looking for perfection. I look for a good effect, but I don't look for perfection. Perfection, I do the best I can, and perfection I leave to the infinite, the divine. Let God handle the perfection side of things, and let me do the best I can. That's what I prefer. So if I move this back, that's my straight edge. And there you can get a better idea of what the desk looks like from this end. This is the working side. Okay, I haven't bothered to put that motif there because I didn't have enough of the trim that I use that for. Well, that I use for doing that, I didn't have enough, so I left all of those parts that are working area. This will be against the wall. Beth will be sitting with her back to the wall where the bed is right now, that distance, and then she'll be against the wall. This part will be against the wall, except for enough space to be able to walk through like this. So that's what I am up to right now. I'm actually going to do more stuff, which I'll be showing you, of course, and we'll get that matched in. I prefer this darker look here. This is where the black, this is black mixed in with white. Now, when it got too mixed, it got a lot more blue, but I'll mix up some smaller amounts so that we can get it in the black stage and get the top done so that it's much blacker than that. You can see the difference there. See, that one is more mixed, so you don't get the black coming to the surface. But all will be well. I will cover my sins. Somebody liked that I'd said that. And I'm quite pleased. I'm quite pleased that that desk, when it's in situ, when it's into a working environment and it will be covered, a good suggestion was that we find a piece of toughened glass to go on the top there. That would be fairly simple if it wasn't for the fact that this is an L shape. It would be simple, wouldn't be cheap, by the way, I'm sure. Definitely not cheap, so therefore I'll just give this extra coats of wax, and whatever comes will come. And I'll just concentrate probably tomorrow on just getting all the paint to be fairly uniform. Okay, well that's my work in progress on my bench, on my desk, and I am pleased. I am pleased with that effect. I like it to look that random paint. I don't like to see things where they just look as if they've come out of a factory. I like them to have something special about them. Even if I have to tell you the story as you look at that bench, that desk. I have to tell you that everybody here in this hilltop farmers community can't quite understand the crazy foreigner. I mean, I guess I'm hoping that they love me anyway, but actually they don't understand me any more than I understand them, because they couldn't understand why I guess they're talking to Beth, and when I rolled up with an extra piece of moulding which I needed, similar to this but the wider stuff that you can see on that little motif there, and I'd gone out specially to get that and some more of the paint. This is the tint that I used to get those effects. The tint on the white paint, which is flat masonry. Anyway, as I roll up, they're all laughing and they see that I've been out to get one piece of moulding, and so of course I have to ask, well, why are they laughing? You know, nobody wants to be laughed at, I guess, especially when they're pompous Brits. They don't want to be laughed at. So Beth said, well, they can't understand why you've taken too long to make the desk. You paid too much money on the materials, and you could have gone out and bought a desk for half the price probably. Well, I put in the half price thing, but I'm guessing that that's what they thought. So I could have gone out and bought a desk. I don't think I could have bought a desk that is as big as this, and that particular shape, which suits exactly the place that it's going in and the person who's going to be working there, and where the storage is and all of that. It's custom made. I sat down and worked out, when I was doing this, I worked out what can I do with the materials that I have, and that desk top is built out of one piece. And that's really what I was saying about the glass. I think getting a piece of glass that is built or cut that way would probably be quite expensive. That one piece top there is cut out of a piece of 8x4 3/4 block board, as is all of the rest of it actually, except for the decorative panels on the front. They're only in what Filipinos call 1/4 inch, but actually it's not actually 1/4 inch. I think it's the lip service paid to a nation that never really embraced the metric system. it's metric here, and that's what they think. They think in terms of metric, but they know about inches, feet and inches. So that's what the top is, and then the trim around it. And if you're ever doing a bench or desk similar to this, you do the top first, and when the top is done, then you build the cabinets to fit the top, and you do it upside down, as I showed on another video. So they thought it was quite funny that the crazy foreigner should have gone out and spent double the time and double the money probably to arrive at a desk that they're probably going to look at and say, what maybe you could get Rado to paint it, he could paint it properly. I got to tell you that I built what I later called the Batman furniture, because it was extremely Gothic in its look, and had a special paint finish, and actually looked as if it was made of metal. It was made in wood. I've showed you some of that style of furniture, and I built a bookcase, and utilizing the bookcase, on either side it showed pillars. It showed rounded pillars which formed bulkheads at each end of the bookcase, and I made that specially for my daughter. And it just shows that everybody has different tastes, which is what I've been trying to tell you now, is that for all that I will have done this, my wife will say nothing about the finish, because she'll know that I'll probably get offended, or at least go, oh God, you know, like this, because somebody doesn't understand. And anyway, I delivered this bookcase that I made this particular Batman bookcase for my daughter as a special gift, and I gave it to her. And when I was transporting it, we were leaving. I'd made it while I worked for the movie prop replica company, and as I was leaving, the boss saw the desk. He saw the bookcase and said to her, "Wow, that's yours?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "I'll buy it from you." And of course she wasn't ready to go and sell it, especially in front of me. But it later turned out that she painted the bookcase white. So whatever you do, it's not for everybody. I remember that I made a static display of a robot, which actually you can see it on my Facebook page. And a friend of mine came around one time, who was actually an artist himself. He apologized later, but his wife came and she looked at the face, she looked at the head of the robot, and then she said, "Why did you do the mouth like that?" Well, I learned over time, when anybody ever said things like that, "Why did you do that?" I learned to say, "Because I'm not you," and that's not meant as an offensive thing. It's just true. By indicating with a question, why did you do that? Or why didn't you do it this way? The answer is, because I'm not you. Because everybody sees a project differently, and everybody will do what they want to do, unless of course they're actually in the throes of trying to please everybody, which you quickly realize that you cannot please everybody. It's just not possible. So you have to do what you do, and therefore you please yourself, which is the most important thing, I think, because if you please yourself, then you're remaining true to yourself and true to your beliefs about, or your ideas on how things should be. And well, that's how you get individual original design. My designs, I think, are under-designed and overbuilt. Now, a good example of over-designed and underbuilt would be the particle board furniture that you buy in these expensive furniture stores. Like, go to IKEA. If you go to IKEA, you'll get something that looks absolutely beautiful. And when you put it together, don't move it ever again, because as you move it, it will not be able to say square to itself, and it will break itself apart, because particle board is just not very strong. Unless it's built like this. But you quickly find out that it's a very convenient material, but not really that great. So this is it's gone on a little bit after looking at the piece, but I hope that that relates to the piece itself, and I will be continuing to do some more work. There's some ideas that I've used on another desk that I made, which was also part of the Batman genre, shall we say. And the reason I say that is because if you saw any of the Batman movies, it's a very Gothic, dark, and monolithic buildings. Batman used to charge around at the top of very high buildings with very ornate pieces of sculpture, eagles with their wings spread at the top of a pillar that was, say, 20 or 30 stories high. Incredible artwork and incredible moody feeling about it, and especially with that dark music. I loved it. So design-wise, I used to love looking at the movies with the Batman in, and the desk that I made, which I will bring out here and perhaps do a little more work on it this coming week, and maybe finish it even and put it in the office. I'll show that to you, because it's one where I wasn't confined to trying to make it practical. It was a desk that appealed to the eye, or not. Okay, we won't go into that. Don't want anybody going in the comments and saying, why did you do it like that? Or why didn't you do it like this? The answer will be the same, because I'm not you. And that should be your answer when anybody questions something that you've done which is original, because it's you and it's not them. Thanks for looking in. This is A Foreigner in the Philippines.